warbaahinta caalamka ayaa siyaabo kala duwan uga falanqoonaysa geerida hoggaamiyihii waddankaasi Iran Aayatullah cali Khamenei kadib markii Mareykanka iyo Israa'iil ay ku dhawaaqeen in ay dileen hoggaamiye cali Khamenei laakiin Iran dhankoodu ma aysan shaacin saacado ay socdeen weerar kala duwan oo Iran lagu qaaday. Iran waxa ay sheegtay in ay weli isdifaacayso oo sidoo kalena ay ku jiraan dagaallo dheeraada. Hoggaamiyaha Mareykanka ninka lagu magacaabo Donald J. Trump oo qoraal soo dhigay barta uu ku leeyahay Facebook ayaa waxa uu ka hadlay xaaladaha la xiriira ninka lagu magacaabo dilka Khamenei waxaana uu ku tilmaamay in ay tahay taariikh dhimasho ah. Waxa uu yiri tani dhimashadu kaliya ma ahan cadaalad ay heleen dadka Iran laakiin sidoo kale waa mid ay heleen dadka ku nool dalweynaha Mareykanka. Laakiin arrimaha uu sida weyn ugu nuuxnuuxsaday hoggaamiyaha waddankaasi Mareykanka Donald Trump waxa qayb ka ah in Aayatullah cali Khamenei dilkiisa uu isagu xaqiijinayo uu sheegay in ay arintaasi tahay mid sax ah. Laakiin geerida la xiriirta hoggaamiyahan ayaa warbaahinta gudaha waddankaasi Israa'iil ay si weyn ay u falanqaynaysaa saacadihii la soo dhaafay waxaana ay sheegayaan in hoggaamiye Aayatullah cali Khamenei uu geeriyooday. Saraakiil sarsare oo ka tirsan Israa'iil iyo sidoo kale Mareykanka ayaa wakaaladda wararka ee Reuters waxay u sheegeen in arintaasi ay tahay xogo sirdoon iyo sidoo kale waxyaabo ay iyagu heleen. laakiin suurtagalnimada arintaas ayaa waxa ay tahay mid calaamado ay muujinayaan sida ay sheegayaan sirdoonka Israa'iil. Iran wali waxay sii wadaa dagaalka iyo sidoo kale ka jawaabista weerarkii lagu qaaday hooyiga uu degan yahay Aayatullah cali Khamenei. Laakiin sidoo kale waxa xusid mudan in Israa'iil iyo Mareykanku ay duqeeyeen laba iskuul oo la sheegay inay u gaar yihiin hablaha oo lagu dilay in ka badan 80 ruux. Dhimashada ayaa sii maraysa 212 ruux sida ay sheegtay wasaaradda caafimaadka ee dalkaasi Iran. Wararku waxay yihiin kuwa is soo taraya. Dhanka kale Iran ayaa si weyn duqeymo kala duwan uga geysanaysa xilliga caawa ah magaalada Tel Aviv ee Israa'iil. Sidoo kale magaalada Haifa iyo magaalooyin kale oo Israa'iil kamida ayay duqeysay. Inkasta oo duqeyntii ka socotay qaybo kamida wadamada Khaliijka ay si weyn hadda ay hoos ugu dhaceen. Wadamada Kuwait, Bahrain iyo sidoo kale dalal ay kamid yihiin Imaaraadka, Qatar iyo Ciraaq ayaa siyaabo kala duwan ay Iran gantaalo ugu weerartay saldhigyo Mareykanka uu leeyahay oo ku yaala gudaha dalalkaasi.
The reported military strikes carried out by the United States in coordination with their Israeli forces against targets inside the Islamic Republic of Iran and Iran's subsequent response represents a perilous and deeply troubling escalation. The A3 condemns the missiles and drone attacks carried out by Iran against the sovereign territories of Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the A3 members of the Security Council, namely the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Liberia, and my own country, Somalia. We thank the Presidency for promptly convening this emergency meeting on the situation in the Middle East. The A3 thanks the Secretary General for his thorough update on this worrying and rapidly evolving development in the Middle East and its implications on international peace and security. We also echo the Secretary General's message of today's military escalation in the Middle East. We welcome the representative of Iran to this meeting. Mr. President, the A3 aligns itself with the statement of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, on the U.S.-Iran military escalation issued on February 28th of 2026. The reported military strikes carried out by the United States in coordination with their Israeli forces against targets inside the Islamic Republic of Iran and Iran's subsequent response represents a perilous and deeply troubling escalation, one that marks a serious intensification of hostilities in the Middle East and threatens to engulf the entire region in an uncontrollable cycle of violence, suffering, and pain. The A3 condemns the missiles and drone attacks carried out by Iran against the sovereign territories of Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The A3 reiterates that all member states must respect their obligations under international law, including the Charter, which prohibits the threat of the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state or in any other manner inconsistent with the purposes of the United Nations. These actions risk further destabilizing the Middle East and underscore the urgent imperative to safeguard broader peace and internal stability, particularly as the geographic scope of military activity expands beyond the initial parties to the conflict. The A3 remains steadfast in its commitment to the fundamental principles of international law and the Charter of the United Nations. At the same time, the A3 recognizes the concerns of all states in the region, which must be addressed through dialogue and peaceful means in accordance with international law and the UN Charter. We believe that all member states share a responsibility to act in accordance with these commitments, and that these are essential foundations for international cooperation and peaceful coexistence. Mr. President, the A3 calls for restraint, urgent de-escalation, and sustained dialogue. All parties must act fully in accordance with international law and the United Nations Charter to safeguard international peace and security. Our position underscores the importance of dialogue, the peaceful settlement of disputes, and respect of international law. It's important for all parties to exercise restraint and responsibility, uphold international law, and avoid any actions that could escalate tensions or threaten regional peace and stability. The A3 stresses that the spillover effects of these hostilities imperil countless lives and threaten to deepen existing crises. The A3 expresses its solidarity with the people of the region and reiterates that the African Union's commitment to peace, stability, and mutual respect among nations and regions. Mr. President, in this regard, the A3 urges all parties to prioritize diplomatic engagements, including the ongoing international mediation efforts facilitated by the Sultanate of Oman to prevent further deterioration and uphold international rules-based order. At this critical juncture, the A3 calls for the swift return to the path of negotiations as the only viable means to reach a sustainable agreement regarding the Iranian nuclear program. Sustainable peace can only be achieved through diplomacy, not through force. The A3 strongly reaffirms the urgent necessity of establishing a Middle East zone free of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction, applicable to all states in the region without exception, in accordance with relevant international resolutions. We also stress the need for all Middle Eastern countries to join the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons as a step toward regional and global security. We emphasize the paramount importance of protecting civilians and civilian infrastructure, including in the context of cross-border strikes and retaliatory actions, and as well as refraining from targeting nuclear facilities that are under International Atomic Energy Agency safeguards, in line with relevant IAEA resolutions and the United Nations Security Council decisions. The A3 reaffirms its commitment to multilateralism and the principles of the United Nations Charter. We urge all parties to act with responsibility and wisdom, placing the well-being of the region's people above all other considerations. It's important to seize this moment to redouble our efforts for de-escalation and to support a diplomatic process that can deliver peace, stability, and security for all states in the Middle East. The A3 stands ready to support all efforts within this Council and in cooperation with regional and international partners to facilitate a peaceful, inclusive, and lasting resolution to the situation in the Middle East. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Somalia for the